you can see that we have an older preset from the polysynth loaded up. And with this preset, the remote controls have been replaced again by the macros, but you can actually see that you can control them from either in the modulator section or from the remote control area. But that's not really the reason why I've brought this in. I've brought this in so I can show you the functionality of the button and the buttons. So let's just start by grabbing a button here, and it's very similar to the macro, only now what you have is a toggle switch. And this toggle switch could be used for a variety of different things and different functions. One function might be to turn off a device or to turn on a device. So here we have the EQ5. What I can do is I can go in here and I could have that go and turn off every time I toggle a button. So but one cool thing with the EQ in Bitwig is that you can actually go and set an amount here. So it's almost as if this is closing up and opening. So I could actually go and I could have some of this applied, and then I could use the button here. And yeah, unfortunately, I can't close it down just to isolate it that way. But I could take the button and I could route that onto the amount slot here. It's a little more subtle. Maybe I'd also have it like shift it. Let's have it shift down. That might be kind of cool. So it's basically moving everything to the left. Right, something like that. And we could then go in and take this a step further and have the button set up to control just like all sorts of these things. And again, the sky's the limit with what you do. I'm just showing you a very basic example. So we'll add in some resonance here. Let's have it increase the release time. Let's have it control the shift. We'll bring in some delay, shape. Nice. Something like that. Let me just make sure that that delay is turned on. Let me actually just go ahead and flip this on real quick. Cool. Might have it increase the output just a little bit. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and I'm going to add an LFO, and this LFO is going to turn this button on and off. All right, so we can have this set up in real time for us here. And let's actually go in and maybe have the output of that go down a little bit, because that's still a little too extreme now. And now we'll listen. So really, again, the sky's the limit with all of this stuff. The other thing we can do is we can bring in buttons, which is going to be obviously 2 buttons. And so we'll go and we'll add another slot here. We'll go and find our buttons. And now with these buttons, they're going to do different things. So what we could do is we could maybe set this button up to control things inside of the oscillators. So we'll have this adjust the shape. It will bring down the sub amount. It'll increase some sync. We'll have it bring down the sub amount on this one. Change this, whatever. And now we'll listen. And then let's use B to actually do some different things inside of the oscillator. So in this case, we'll go and we'll bring the sync up. We'll bring the sub way up. We'll take... I don't know. I don't really feel like changing anything else. We'll just change that there. So now we'll listen to how B changes as compared to A. And when you click them, it actually adds the amount together. So just so I can show you that maybe in an easier way, if I go in here and I add a little bit to the release and I take B and I add a little bit more to the release, we'll see how this works. So but one thing I like to do is, and I like to use a button to flip between the two of these. All right, and so the way I would do that is I'd go in here, I'd add a single button, and now I'm going to have one of these turned on by default. So there really is no way, I mean, you could have both of these turn on and off at the same time, but you could never kind of go through 3 stages. I mean, maybe you could if you got really complicated with like the math or something, but I don't know how to do it. So the way you do it is you turn one on and then you bring that one off, and then you take the other thing and you bring it up on, so that when I flip it on, we can see how we're switching between A and B. And then you can go in and you can obviously take this and you can map this to a controller or to a key. So I'll just map this to like my Y key on my keyboard. And there you have it. So that is the way that you can work with the button and the buttons. Really, this goes so much further than the example I'm showing you here. You could use these things to control all sorts of different things. Again, if you wanted to like turn off and on an LFO, you could set that up by making sure like you bring the amount down. So in this case, I would just take it, and then this would then turn the LFO off. And you can see how big of an impact that's going to have. Maybe we won't go all the way off. Or we could even use it to then like change the shape a little bit. I have to be careful so it's not too extreme. Let's see if that worked, if I did it far enough. And I can have it play back in real time to find what I want. Might even change the speed. So all sorts of things are possible with these buttons. Again, I could probably just play around for like 45 minutes and not tire of ideas. So that's definitely something that you'll want to experiment with and have a lot of fun with. Take it easy.